Warm, toasty Long Island. I'm delighted to be at this location where we talk about a crisis that is unfolding, and it's one that is having an effect on every single person who owns a vehicle, everybody. And that's the skyrocketing costs of insurance. And oftentimes the individuals you'll be hearing from today are the ones who see first the results of staged accidents and people willing to have a criminal enterprise to defraud insurance companies. And then what happens then is the insurance companies pass it on to in premiums to all motorists. And so that's the unfairness of this. I want to acknowledge the fact that we're here with the owners. I want Ibrahim and his wife Nakla have welcomed us. Their son Mert Dumain, who will be speaking on behalf of the family in a couple minutes, and of course our great supervisor from the town of Babylon, Richie Schaefer. We also have Jason Richburg, Suffolk County Legislator, Minority Leader, and Tom Donnelly, our legislator from the district. So very happy to have our elected officials represented here, as well as a very important local business that's been here since about 2014. And since the moment I took office, I have focused on affordability. It is one of the cornerstones of my agenda because it's hitting people so hard. They're just, at the end of the month, the dread that people have when it comes to paying their bills, and they're just piling up. And you know, if you're paying for even a college education, we're going to be hearing from Mert, who's in college right now. Where's Mert? Mert's in college, University of Buffalo. He came down here to warm up a little bit, I think. And I'm talking about his loyalty to football teams, but that's another conversation. We'll talk about that later. But you know, if you have to pay for a tuition bill, you might be paying for child care, you got your groceries, you've got the rent or your mortgage, and then all of a sudden the car insurance bill comes in and it's gone up higher than you ever could have imagined. So that's what we're focused on. Last year we put a lot of money back in people's pockets, over $5,000 for many families, but we're going to keep our foot on the gas to find more ways to bring down costs. And so when I think about what's happening with car insurance, we compare ourselves to other states. And this is the shock value, that the average cost of car insurance across the state is about $4,000, upwards of $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 per year on Long Island. But on average, that's about $1,500 more than our neighboring states. So what is going on in New York where we end up having to pay so much more? On Long Island, some areas, the insurance here has spiked 80% increase since 2019.
Here in Deer Park, the average premium went from nearly $2,400 in 2019 to nearly $4,000 in 2025. Now, this isn't happening because New Yorkers are doing something wrong, that we're worse drivers than other states. They exist now because there's rampant fraud and runaway litigation costs that are jacking up the prices for everyone. And they're the result of a flawed system, one that rewards greed and dangerous behavior, a system that's exploited by a lot of bad actors and criminals. And this is criminal behavior. And I'm talking about the scenario. Imagine this. Drunk driver crashes into somebody. They're under the influence. They made the decision to drive while intoxicated. They cause an accident, cause harm, and they're the ones who can recover fully. They can recover fully for emotional distress. They can end up suing the person they hit. Got this? They can sue the person they hit and recover emotional distress. You can have reckless drivers who slam into your car, then walk away with a big payday. Now, these are staged accidents. Then they get a payday to recover for their pain and suffering. Uninsured drivers who the rest of us end up paying for. And again, I was talking about these staged accidents. I will say that Newsday has done an extraordinary job cataloging and chronicling what has been going on here in Long Island. And it's a whole ecosystem. It's corrupt actors who are willing to stage the accidents, but then there's corrupt doctors. And we're trying to find out what's happening over at Newmick, or had been happening before we assumed authority over it. So you have doctors who will file fake or wildly exaggerated medical reports. They get kickbacks. You get sometimes alleged law firms that are setting this in motion. So in 2023 alone, there's been more than 38,000 suspected cases of auto insurance fraud in New York State alone. 38,000 in one state. That's not nationwide. And that is a real driver of why these insurance premiums are so astronomical. As I said, we're seeing it on Long Island and across the entire state. And back to Deer Park, a surgeon was recently accused of participating in a staged accident scheme. He allegedly copied and pasted the same phony medical report for 24 patients. Imagine how brazen that is. Someone thinking they're never going to get caught and defrauding a system where the rest of us have to pay. Out in Freeport, an organized network of scammers allegedly filed over 70 bogus lawsuits attempting to collect millions in payouts. And just last summer, 2 men were caught staging crashes on the Belt Parkway. They'd swerve in front of cars, making it impossible to avoid a violent collision. They even rammed one woman into reverse and then pretended they were the victims. Those 2 people are now facing 15 years in prison, but it's continuing to go on. And there's others like them. And every time they win one of these sham payouts, as I said before, who's paying the price? That's being passed on to law-abiding motorists in the form of monthly premiums. So it's time to slam the brakes on fraud. It's been going on too long. Nobody's taking it on because there's strong opposition on the other side, because a lot of people are benefiting from the status quo. But the status quo sometimes just doesn't work. Because if you're driving drunk, driving without a license, committing a felony at the time of the crash, or caused the accident in the first place, you should not get a payday. Full stop. It's not how it's supposed to be. What are we going to do about it? I just proposed last month in my State of the State address that in this year's legislative session, this year's budget, we're looking to reform the tort laws, the laws that guide how lawsuits are filed on what grounds. And we'll protect people who play by the rules. People who are seriously injured, they deserve to recover. That's what insurance is all about, and help them pay for their car repairs. But we want to insulate the personal injury system from abuse. Now, Florida had a similar problem. I don't usually model anything we do after Florida. I just want to put that out there. But they implemented similar reforms, just like I'm talking about. Their insurance premiums went down 20% over a couple of years. And I want someone who's involved in an accident to be, I believe they're still entitled to fair compensation, but they should not be given a payday for millions of dollars for an accident they intentionally caused. And we'll also make it easier to prosecute these staged accidents, strengthen penalties for those who break the law, fund a new cross-agency task force to catch these perpetrators, and reimagine the Motor Vehicle Theft and Insurance Fraud Board to make them more aggressive. I'll empower our state police and local Department of Financial Services to clamp down on the car insurance con artists. So let me wrap up by this. We talked about how high the bills are. We talked about the stressors on everyday New Yorkers, and especially here on Long Island, where the average cost of a home here in Suffolk County is now over $700,000. People's bills are too high. We have to help people out, give them a lifeline. So nothing will stop me from going after these fraudsters who endanger law-abiding New Yorkers and cheat them out of their money. So that's what I'm fighting for. I want to introduce someone now who has worked here, head of the company, as for his family business now, right? Family business. And Mert is going to talk to us about what he and the family are seeing here in places like this. We have hardworking people that are repairing vehicles all the time. And guess what? They know when something has been staged. They know when something doesn't seem right. And they also want to make sure that we're taking care of the law-abiding New Yorkers who are playing by the rules, and to set those aside and have consequences for those who are coming in here when they know something is not right. So let me introduce Mert Dumont, the owner of the Best Way Auto Collision Park store here in Deer Park, and introduce him and also welcome his parents.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our shop, Best Way Auto Collision in Deer Park, Long Island. We're proud to host Governor Hochul and her team here today. My father has been in business for many years, and if there is one thing that stayed consistent throughout all that time, is out-of-control car insurance prices. It affects us personally, our business, and each of our employees. We all drive, we all have families, and we can all feel the stress of premiums that keep going up. A big reason for this is fraud. Staged accidents, inflated claims, and loopholes that don't make sense. As mentioned, someone can drive drunk, cause an accident, and still sue for emotional damages. Obviously, that's crazy, and law-abiding drivers should not be forced into higher premiums to reward bad behavior. When fraud drives up costs, it doesn't hurt the insurance companies. It hurts working people and small businesses such as ourselves. These costs, in turn, impact our customers and the families that walk through our door every day. We appreciate Governor Hochul taking this on and fighting the tough fights for us. There are powerful forces that benefit from the system staying as it is, but the governor is standing with us, hardworking New Yorkers who just want fair rules and fair rates. We want safe roads, accountability, and insurance that doesn't break the bank. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for coming to Long Island and for fighting to put money back in the pockets of families and small businesses. Now I'd like to turn it over to the Town of Babylon Supervisor, Rich Schaefer.
Thank you, and good morning to everyone. Let me first thank the governor for being here today. Ibrahim, I want to just note for the record that I didn't get a jacket.
Promise.
When we had the grand opening here, because this once was a dilapidated operation that Ibrahim and his family took over and turned it into this beautiful operation that now employs hardworking individuals who come from our community. And so we're grateful to you for locating one of your operations here in Deer Park in the town of Babylon. And Governor, I just renewed my car insurance 2 days ago online, haven't had a claim, and saw that increase that you're talking about. And so I bring greetings and a big thank you from my insurance agent, Paul Della in North Babylon, who says thank you for finally taking on this battle. Because in the past, as he and I were talking about, and him explaining to me what the increase was about, he said that there have been past discussions about this, but nobody who's ever agreed to step up and not be intimidated by those forces but has agreed to take on this battle for hardworking men and women here in New York. So we're grateful. And by the way, my money's on her for being able to win this battle, because she's proven time and time again as lieutenant governor and now as governor that she's not afraid to take on those battles, and that she's one tough mother, is it? One tough mother. And that's what you need, is somebody who's going to not be afraid or intimidated and be able to take those forces on. And so I'll say from us here in Suffolk County, as the chair of the Suffolk County Supervisors Association, your team briefed us last week on the initiatives that we're going to get behind to make sure that these things get through the state legislature, combat what we know is going to be a lot of money spent to stop that. And I have one message for those forces that don't feel they need or don't feel the system needs to change. You better get on board now and give your input as to how you'd like to see the system be fairer, more just, and less expensive for each and every New Yorker who deserves that. So, Governor, thank you for your leadership, and you're going to have our full support as you go into battle on this.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Governor, is there anything, are you working with the insurance companies, and is there anything that can be done to require insurance companies to follow this legislation?
No, they're on board, because I think they see that if we can get these changes through that have been talked about for a long time, but like you heard from the supervisor, no one took this on because it's going to be contentious. This is going to be a huge battle heading into the legislature, and there'll be a lot of outside interests that try to stop us. So I know that's coming. And the insurance companies are so looking forward to this occurring because their costs are going to go down dramatically. So yes, we are having conversations about our full expectation that we're taking on this fight so they can reduce the premiums. There's a direct through line between this effort and more money back in people's pockets, and they're an important part of it. So yes. I think there's institutional interests. The billboard lawyers that are out there would be wise to come to the table and work with us on this. This is something that, there's bad actors that can malign an entire industry. I mean, there's a lot of people not abusing the system. There's a lot of lawyers and doctors and repair places and people as part of this whole system doing the right thing. So I don't want to, negate that fact. But they ought to help us get rid of the bad actors, and also a system that just seems so wrought with illogical outcomes, that you can go to court and represent someone who caused an accident, and they can, again, not just, accidentally got cited, someone who plans to cause an accident. I mean, these are bad criminals that are willing to harm people. I mean, think about the high risk of that. Now, you don't know that you're not going to have a massive pileup and have multiple deaths involved when you're staging an accident, so you can then feed it to a doctor who's part of a corrupt system and get a lawyer who's part of a corrupt system and have this whole enterprise, this criminal enterprise, result in million-dollar payouts for people. So I want to welcome people to the conversation who feel this may affect them and help them understand that we're going after the bad guys and they should be on our side.
Governor, you obviously outlined that this is pretty much a no-brainer, but why does it take this long to make these steps forward?
Well, because no one took it on for a long time. This has been going on for years. I mean, you look at the comparison of premiums, they have gone up more recently, and I'm looking at this as part of my affordability agenda. When I look at what we took on last year and what we're doing with the high cost of childcare and putting more money back in people's pockets with the largest middle-class tax rate cut in 70 years, and the inflation rebate and the childcare tax credit to put money back in new parents' pockets, I'm doing everything I can. Free community college for adult learners who want to change over, free breakfasts and lunches in schools. Everything I'm doing is hardwired to put more money back in people's pockets, and also building more housing, including here in Suffolk County, because more supply will drive down the cost of rent ultimately and the cost of houses. So I've got this whole plan. Then I look at what are some of the other bills that people are paying, and I'm looking at trends, and I'm looking at what other states have done who've made these changes. And I'm a quick learner. When I see that there's something can be done, I want to operationalize it literally in my next budget, which is going on right now. So we move fairly quickly with the new data to show that there's a lot of evidence that this is a system being defrauded. And when it comes to light for me, I figure out a plan and we're moving forward.
Anything else on top? All right. Thank you all for the moment. Just want to say thank you. Excuse our French, we got about the shot. Thank you for coming, everybody. Just take a moment.
All right. Thank you.
Let me give you.
Oh, he wants to present a proclamation here. Family? Want to get all your workers here?
Yeah.
Why don't you pull up all your workers here?
I've seen talking.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Hi. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hi. I appreciate everybody. What was that, Rob?
I said these gentlemen here are from the E's and J's side, which are a part of our Suffolk County Police Department.
Excellent. All right. Thank you for this recognition, for coming here, and appreciation for steadfast leadership and service to the people of Long Island. So thank you very much. This means so much to me.
Thank you.
Thank you for the flowers.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sunday.
Today, in emergency, Bruce Blakeman has said that he will try to make New York more affordable and a better place to attract more residents and to lose the loss of citizenship or residents in town. What do you think about his comments and your agenda versus his in terms of attracting people to live in New York?
I've got some advice for Bruce Blakeman. If he wants New York to also become more affordable, and I'm laser focused on this, this is what I wake up thinking about is how to protect New Yorkers from crime and also how to make New York more affordable. So this has been my agenda, so I welcome him to the conversation. But have him call Donald Trump and reverse the tariffs that Bruce Blakeman joyfully signed on to and embraced when Donald Trump first announced this on the White House lawn. Ask him to have Donald Trump roll back that because that is driving up costs all over the state of New York. How do I know this? I just went to an agriculture event 2 days ago in Albany. The farmers are still in shock that someone that they had supported has made their lives so expensive. The cost of fertilizers from Canada. You know where that comes from? There's two places in the world, Canada and Ukraine. So they're getting slammed. The cost of aluminum, the cost of wood pulp that goes into the barns. So I'm telling you, in a very red part of our state, if you want to look at the political dynamics here, they're really unhappy about the tariffs. Go over to Western New York. The businesses and places that had a strong relationship with Canada no longer exist. The tourism that's not coming here from places like, that's just one country. Donald Trump has single-handedly made the cost of living in every state more expensive. So if you really are sincere about doing something, call your buddy in the White House.
Governor, yesterday the EPA announced that they're going to get rolling back a lot of the greenhouse gases emissions
will have to stand up and fight back. And Lee Zeldin, shame on him, someone from Long Island who knows how important protecting the environment is, a place where clean water is everything, clean air is everything, renewable energy is everything, as the administration that he's part of has shut down and killed thousands of union jobs with offshore wind being shut down. So he knows better, number one. But number two, we will stand up and fight back. We'll go to court. We'll assert that we have control over this. This is our domain. And then I'm going to keep focusing on trying to meet very important objectives, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and focusing on our opportunities for renewable energy. I mean, for them to make it more difficult to build wind farms and solar and everything else that we've been leaning into and fighting to get to, and have them pull the plug on all this. It is shocking and shameful that they would now throw out the interests of not just the health of our planet and the future for our grandkids, but even living right now. They have to stop this assault on our environment. And Lee Zeldin should know better, and people from Long Island who know him best should be calling him out on this. You all set? Thanks, everybody.